Hi, I'm Lazze and I'm teaching people in metal shaping and have done that for many years now. So I started my business 23 years ago, so it has been a long time. On this video here, I'm going to show you how to make a little more complicated piece that many people maybe don't think about. It's a difficult piece to make. And on this video, I'm going to show you how to make this reverse curve, but you have convex, convex, and concave shape, but you also have it curved this way. So this is a pretty interesting piece, and in the last step 2 class I had, it was one of my students. He wants to know how to do this, and it makes a big difference how you start to make this one. And in this case, we start with writing out with a pen, marking out with a pen where the frame is. And the frame is in the center. And the frame, if the frame is too wide, then the sides, when we're stretching those, it will not answer the center part to curve because it's too wide. So it's important that we are down to maybe 3/4 of an inch wide frame in the center. And then we're stretching this and stretching it over the edge, and more over the edge and less further in. So if we start here, we can go over that edge, and then when we go back, we go maybe stop there, and then we go back over the edge, and next time we stop there, and then we go again. So we're stretching this like a pie shape, more on the edge and less in here. And we do that on both sides. And then we're going to roll it upside down with a rubber band to create this curve here. When we do that, we're losing a little of this shape, but it's a balance there, how much we do and how much we want. So this is a pretty interesting shape to make, but it can be done pretty quick. So here is the first step. I'm going to use the English wheel without the rubber band, and I'm used the steel wheel on the bottom. And I'm going to start rolling this part I'm going to start in here, and I'm going to roll this out to the side and over the side. The frame is actually in the center on this panel, so I don't going to touch that for the moment. I might need to go in and do some small adjustments, but for now, not. And then I'm also going to turn this around and roll this part up here. So I'm going to stretch this part like that. So it's going to be a reverse curve, but it's going to be a little different shape, so you can see what I'm talking about. So I start with a flat wheel. You see that I have a blue line and a red line, and the red line, that tells me that's the first one I put together, put on, but it doesn't matter so much. But the important thing is that if the frame here in the center is too wide, when I'm rolling the sides here, it doesn't answer, the metal doesn't answer, and it will not curve as much this way as I want. So it's important that the frame here in the center is maybe an inch maximum. If I go over that edge there, that is fine, because I want to stretch it over all edges except for this part there. So you can already see now, because I'm using a little heavier pressure. And you see here now, when I came over the edge is so soft in aluminum, so it stretches a lot. So here, you see this? So now I need to go here again and continue there. And if you pay attention now, you can see that the edge where I'm holding my right hand, it's going to be shorter again because I stretched it further in. So what I do here, I go back to So I think that I can start see some small scribe lines. That's from the edge of the lower wheel. So this wheel, the flat wheel, is already enough now. It can't take more curve to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll the other side, and then I can go over to the second wheel and continue stretching this more. Aluminum in the beginning, it's really easy to see the tracks. So you can really get the tracks close. It's a little more difficult the second time. If you continue rolling this with the flat wheel and don't pay attention that the panel has more curve to it, convex shape, than the wheel has, the sheet will start waving this way. And that is not a good thing to have. So it's better to change the wheel in time. So now you can see that we're getting this curve that actually a roof on a Dodge Viper have. They have the bubble on the top. So I'm going to switch the wheel to the next wheel. And we also have curve this way now because I'm stretching this and it starts curving this way. But when I roll this upside down later on with the rubber band, then we're going to get more of the two-dimension and we're going to lose a little of this arc. So I will make sure that I have enough before I go to the rubber band. So here I saw that you see the frame here is in the center, it's probably about 1.5 inch. And I will make sure that I go a little closer to that, so I would like to have a little less. So I'm using a little more pressure now because I can smooth it out with the low pressure later on. Now I go over that edge too to help it to open up. If I don't go over that edge, this will start tipping down. It will be just a bubble. So I think I go over to this side now and continue there. So most of the stretching will be on the edge and less the further in you go, like the pie shape like that. So when I'm rolling it, I'm working on my way out over this edge and very little stretching close to the frame. So I adjust the pressure a little bit. So, because I see that I have so much of this curve now, so I think it's best to go to the rubber band now and bend it more here, and then we will see what shape it's going to take there. So now I have the rubber band on, and I'm using the third wheel, and I'm going to roll this upside down now because that's what I want to bend it. So there you can see the curvature there. So what I can do now, I can leave it like that, and then I go over and stretch the sides a little more. I'm going to show you that we already have a curve there, even in the center. And that's what I want. But if I want more curve here, I need to stretch the sides more. As you can see here on this panel here, that you see that I have a stop mark here, and there I have been a little better over the edge. Here I have a stop mark, here I have been over the edge a little more. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the flat wheel and I'm going to stretch this part too, not over the frame in the center, but this part, this part, this part, because I want this to be stretched all the way except for the center there. So I take the flat wheel and I take it upside down, oh, the right way actually, and I'm going to stretch this. And I don't go in so far on the panel. So now you can see that I worked on that area. So I'm going to do the same thing on each corner. And I can do a little bit here too in the front to stretch it as well, because that will help this to tip down a little more if I open up the corner or the frame there in one end. So I make that a little longer. So I have this side to do also. And then I do a little there as well. And then I go over there. Like that. So here you see here you can see that I have some marks there because I used too flat wheel. It was already too much curve there. So I can go around that and fix that. And I probably should take care of that as quick as possible. So I go back with the second wheel because I have more curve to that, and I can reach in there and just blend those lines out. Now you can see that those lines are gone. So the reason why I rolled it there was to open up this more, and it's curving more. If it's really curving down here, probably the best is to cut it and bend this down, and add that on the other piece that comes from the bottom and weld it there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to roll it with the second wheel more on both sides to see if we can get it to curve more. rolling it a little shorter here. To bring it up a little more. I saw a little flat spot there in the center. I start taking the shape I want. But you see here, I'm about 2 inches away from the frame in the center because I can't reach in there with a flat wheel on the top there. So to reach in a little closer, I can roll it upside down. And I see that the second wheel here is too flat. So I need to go with a third wheel to get a little closer to the frame. Before I change the wheel there, I'm going to go over to this side and roll this one up as well. And it's okay if I go over the edge like that and go in again. That's even better if I can do that so I don't making a frame there. You see the same thing here, that the top wheel is, I can't go closer there because the curves is there. So we have a curve. We have a more curve there in the center now. But what I would like to do is to go to the third wheel and go a little close and stretch it to the frame there. So I'm probably going to keep a frame like that. But now when I roll it, I stop the butt here. And I stopped about there. So this is the part that I would like to roll up with a third wheel and upside down like that. That's the only way I can reach in there. But when I do that, it's also start curving this way. Because if the frame here is too wide, doesn't matter how much I stretch on the sides, it will not answer to curve more here in the center anyway. And I can't go too far out because then I'm going to go into this curve and then I'm going to have problem with the top wheel again. So I do it this way and then I go over here and with a round wheel and just blend this in. And as long as I go over this edge and this edge, it doesn't matter because I'm stretching it. If I stop before the edge there, then I'm going to, if I draw it too much, I can build up a curve this way. And I don't want that to happen. So let me do a little on this side as well. So you see now that we actually have even more now in the center, curve that way. So this depends on how far you want to go. And of course, if you make something for an AC Cobra front fender, this could be the part that goes to the headlight here, and this will be the front, and here is the part that goes to the hood. If this should be a little more flat, I can take a flatter wheel from about here and roll it over there. So let me do that. So the rounder wheel I can use closer to the frame, but further out here I prefer to have a wheel that is a little more flat. I get less lines and I can actually stretch it a little more over the edge. So you can see now on the shape there how much more I cleaned it up with this wheel. If I stay too much on the edge will be wavy, and then I can go a little closer in again. You see now this is a little more flat to the hood if that's what I want. I'm going to roll this side a little bit too. So this panel that I'm making here give you an example how you can roll a reverse curve and how you can control the metal. So let's put the rubber band on again, and then I can go in and roll this little more curve upside down, and then we can take a look and see how far we are. So I can see now, just this little pressure that I'm using now, how much more it bends it 2 dimension in the center. So that's what we're looking for, and we still have a good curve there. So this depends on what panel you're going to make. But this gives you an example of what you can do in the English wheel than just making a convex shape. You can have a reverse curve, so you have convex and concave. But it's much more difficult to work with, but it's a good experience. And as my good friend Gene Winfield always tells me when I meet him, he's a good friend of mine, and he always says that every day is a school day. So that means that we learn something new every day. If you want more information about the classes and the equipment, or DVDs or books, instruction manual books, you can go to www.lazzemetalshaping.com. Thank you very much.